Good evening. It is August 26, 2025, and we're calling the Town Council Committee of the Whole regular meeting agenda to order. It is 6:31 p.m. First up is roll call. We have all present. Is Council Bordelon?
No, not yet. Oh, so we just came out of close then? Okay, she just came out. She's being promoted.
Okay, we have all present. Up next is calendar and communications. Councilor Merritt, do you have anything to share?
No, I don't.
Thank you. Councilor Bordelon? Councilor Bordelon, your mute button might be on. Okay, Councilor Pacino.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have nothing to pass at this moment. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Rusk.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to say a couple thank yous. Thank you to TVCCA's Josh Kelly for inviting the Town Council to tour the Groton facility of their Little Learners and Head Starts. I was there with Councilor Pacino, Councilor Parker, Councilor Jones. I also want to say thank you to the Riverfront Children's Center for inviting me to their end of summer celebration and say congratulations to all of their preschoolers. I want to say congratulations to Town of Groton staff Jessica McCready, who is being honored, or who was honored by United Way of Southeastern Connecticut at their community celebration last week. So great job to her. I want to acknowledge that today marks the 105th anniversary of the certification of the 19th Amendment, which denied states the right to discriminate based on gender for the right to vote. And while this was a significant step towards voter equality, all citizens were not allowed to vote until the Federal Voting Rights Act of 1965, which just is amazing that it was that recently. I also want to say thank you to Board of Ed Chair Beverly Washington, who is working with the Board of Ed Finance Director. In April, I sent out an email to the superintendent and the Board of Ed noting that the Board of Ed was not in compliance with Connecticut general statute regarding publishing quarterly projected expenditures and revenue reports on their website. Currently, after that initial email, there was one put up, so April of 2025 was put up, and there's a new schedule. Thank you to Chair Washington for doing that. They should be up now in October, January, April, and July. I attended the Personnel and Appointments Committee last week with Chair Jones and Councilor Good. And that is my report. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
All right, thank you. Councilor Jones.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I was a busy couple weeks. I also attended the community celebrations at Mohegan Sun for United Way, and congratulations to Jessica McCready, as Councilor Russ said. I joined the Thrive 55 trip to Yankee Stadium this past week to watch the Red Sox play the Yankees, and I encourage everybody that we have the most unbelievable Thrive 55 center here in Groton with all kinds of different trips and things that you can take advantage of, and they run extremely well. So that was a fun trip to go and see, and the Red Sox won 12-1. So did the United Way Food Bank with Councilor Parker, Good, and Rusk on Friday, the Personnel and Appointments meeting. Thank you again to TVCCA for the tour through their facilities, and then along with Councilor Parker did the Groton Public School Convocation on last Friday, which was very good, and got to see the new commander of the Navy base and spoke. So that's it.
Thank you. Councilor McBride.
Nothing noteworthy to discuss this evening, thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Good.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just really wanted to mention that this Saturday at 10 a.m., I believe, the Nutmeg Junior Volunteer Fife and Drum Corps is having their annual muster. There'll be quite a few other Fife and Drum Corps, and it'll be held at Fort Griswold State Park in the Monument. So anybody wanting to go check it out, please do. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Parker.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you to Councilor Russ and Councilor Jones for announcing the events we attended together. I also attended the St. John's Community event, backpack event. Over 100 backpacks given out, so thank you to all who donated. I have names, but I can't think right now. But thank you to all of those. We did receive communication, regular communications, and that is all I have to report.
We, as a council, and I believe community is also invited to the Board of Trustees for the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Scholarship Trust Fund has cordially invites the community to an annual dinner on Thursday, October 23rd, 2025 at the Premier Ballroom at Fox Tower, Foxwoods Resort Casino, Mashantucket. Tickets are $75, reception starts at 5, and dinner is at 6. And if there's any counselors that would like to attend, they should contact Lisa Hilton, and she is taking reservations for that. And besides that, I have nothing else to share this evening. We're
I'd
going to be
like
moving
to
on
have a
to
turn to
approval
speak
of
as well.
minutes.
I'm also here, and I have been here. I have not been called on.
I have called on you 3 times. Counselor Bordelon, would you
I
like to share
apologize.
something?
I'm sorry?
Would you like to share anything?
Sure, thank you. I just want to clarify some of my communications from the previous meeting. I want to emphasize that I do not condone the use of, violent language or insults or threats or ill health or harm to any members of our council or any of our community members. In fact, what I was asking last week, which I feel was not represented fairly, and I just want to clear the record on, what I was stating is people had reached out to me in our community regarding the limit, restraints, and restrictions of the whole being of 30 minutes only. And that is no way my intention to encourage or defame the acts or actions or accusations that people are getting certain types of emails and phone calls. I too have been getting a ton of phone calls, but I guess my concern is I just wanted to make sure that that was clear and properly represented. Also, the adjustments to citizens' petitions, that part, the 30-minute cap, I find that still, again, not to be fair. The rules 5H give the mayor the presentations only, not petitions. Adjustments to time and citizens' petitions governed by Rule 11A that requires all adjustments to be subject to vote by the council at whole. I was never privy to a vote that happened, so that was very new. Again, I can agree there's been a lot of controversy and other issues happening, but that does not change the fact of our obligation to the community. In regards to the removal of our addresses and contact information on the website, on the town website, a local citizen reached out to me and was concerned. I did send an email to John, and then my name popped back up. I don't know how my name got removed. Was there a meeting? Was there a decision made, and who makes those decisions to remove the names? But at minimum, due to FOI, regulations, shouldn't our town emails be should stay up there? I don't know. I would like more clarification on that. I have a message out to the state on that, but I ask that my information remain. If there has been any concerns for safety, I have not been privy to any of those, and if there are, it'd be great for that to be public to the council at large, maybe in a meeting. But I haven't had any communications, and I hope that that's not the case. So those are my questions and concerns, and clarifying that again, in no way the report of how I'm condoning these behaviors is not the case, and I felt like I was being wrongly represented under that in that area. In fact, I'm asking for proper transparency, accountability, and open government. And I am concerned that things are being removed now, different processes have been happening, time limit
Thank you. Your time has
restrictions are
expired.
continuing.
Your time has
Thank
expired.
you.
Thank you.
And so
Mr.
I guess
Burt.
I'll ask them to go.
Counselor Bordelon, your time has expired. Thank you. Mr.
Thank
Burt, do
you.
you have anything you would like to add about the website?
Sure. A couple councilors reached out with some concerns over some of the calls they were getting. Recommendation or suggestion, I should say, was made to remove temporarily the list. I made the decision to do so, asked the clerk to do it, so it was completely my decision. And I did check with the town attorney. You do not have to keep those up. So.
Thank you.
And we do, just a
Okay,
reminder, we do have the council at groton-ct.gov too for people that's on our website to reach out for the council.
Point of information.
Just a moment. Mr. Burt, do you think it would be something that this council should decide as a consensus of maybe what kind of information should go up there? I know even a local municipality just puts up the town councilor's name and their town emails or city email. If this council would like that, do you think it would be a consensus of the council to make it the decision, or do you think?
I think that would be good. But I also do not think if somebody is receiving an inordinate amount of certain types of messages, I think they should have the discretion though to pull their information to make themselves comfortable.
Thank you.
Point of information?
Your question.
Through the mayor, through the town manager, so a couple counselors reached out and you made the decision to remove everybody?
Yes.
Okay, so.
So we're moving on to, we cannot have a full discussion. This isn't on our agenda. I mean, a quick question, just to clarify
Sure.
information. If we would like this on a
Yeah,
future
I just
agenda.
think- so my
Mr. Burt,
question
maybe we
is-
could have this on an agenda so that the council
Yeah,
can make a
I
decision.
think so.
Council Bordelon, you do not have the floor.
Yeah, yeah, so point of information,
You just had a point of information,
and I wasn't finished and you started speaking while I was speaking.
but you started having a discussion.
And my question is, in the future, could
Point
you
of
reach
order?
out to me?
Your
to
point of
ask
Point
me
of
to
order?
have my name
Your point of order.
The discussion has ended, and we need to move on to the next thing, and you didn't acknowledge her point of information, ma'am.
I agree, thank you. That is
Point of
not,
information?
that is out of order. I'm not acknowledging,
Point of
an-
information?
I am not acknowledging a point of information in relation to the counselor's information on the website at this time.
Okay, point of information,
Your question.
what is the process when we reach out? Does that project that then one person's decision reflects everybody? How do we get contacted in that loop in the future?
Madam Mayor, point of order is going back to the same question.
Because I think we're not following proper process. We're not being fairly
Council Bordelon,
contacted.
you do not have the floor. You're not recognized. Councilor Parker, you have the floor.
Sure.
Continue.
Point of order, we're going back to the same thing, and you have already acknowledged that we're not discussing that item. It's not an agenda item.
You are correct. Thank you. We will not be taking up the question on hand, so up next is approval of minutes. Councilor Parker, would you like to take that?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I make a motion to approve the committee of the whole meeting minutes of August 12, 2025.
Seconded by, moved by Parker, seconded by Rusk.
Madam Mayor,
Councilor Parker.
there is an error
Okay.
on page 3 of our packet, which would be page 1 of the meeting minutes. Councilor Bordelon was in attendance
Okay.
in person. If we could add her to the minutes, please.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else? Councilor Bordelon.
Yeah, thank you. Same as Councilor Parker, I noticed that as well. Also on page 1 or 3, depending on how you read it, it states here that Councilor Bordelon requested a point of order on Mayor Franco was staring down. But prior to that, there was a comment made by Councilor Parker asking the mayor not to direct questions directly to other folks on the panel, and that seems to be omitted.
Points of order are required to be in the minutes.
I'm sorry?
Points of order are required to be in the minutes.
Sure, okay, just wanted it duly noted for the record that that was something that was stated that's important that is not added. Thank you.
Councilor Bordelon, do you have your hand still up?
I'm all set, thanks.
All right, seeing no other hands, we're going to take a vote on the minutes as amended by Councilor Parker. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 9-0. I guess we vote on them all with the amendment. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? That passes 9-0. Up next, new business. We have the 2025-681-1 solar array revenue usage. This is on page 10 of our packet. There's no motion. Mr. Burt.
Good evening. Going back a little bit into the background, as a reminder, the town council recently approved a lease for a solar array at the town's closed landfill portion of its transfer station property. The lease provides for an annual payment of $228,000, which is a mixture of lease fees and tax payments to the town. At the August 12th call, the council discussed potential uses for the revenue, which was a referral from Councilor Bordelon. There were two options mainly under consideration at that meeting, not that that limits discussion moving forward, but one option is to, as you treat other revenue, have it go into just generally into the town's general fund, and then to be used for later budgeting. And then the idea of dedicating funding to offset the cost of bond payments for the athletic fields referendum also came up. That I was asked, the council postponed the meeting so that I could touch base with both the finance director and the bond counsel for the athletic field bonds to see whether that could be incorporated into the explanatory text. And I did reach out to both. It can be dedicated to that. It's got an impact roughly of about $5 per $100,000 of tax assessment. So it's not a huge impact, but it's about $5 per 100,000. And if the council chose to do that, the bond counsel gave me language we would put in the explanatory text. There's a lot of certain requirements in explanatory text for bonds, but the language, if approved, the town anticipates dedicating $228,000 received annually from a solar lease at the town's transfer station for the payment of debt service. This would reduce the increase to the town's debt service payments from the issuance of bonds. Such yearly funding would be subject to annual appropriation. So it can be done. I do want to make it clear, I'm not sure everybody that watched the meeting, some people reached out, received some emails that it's really a net zero. There's really no difference. You would dedicate money towards the bonds, and then that money, instead of being available for other uses, would be taxpayer dollars. So it's more just making it help with the bonds. But I just want to make it clear it's a net zero. It's no real difference ultimately, but it can be done.
So we currently don't have a motion on the floor. So to have discussion, we should probably have a motion on the floor, I would assume. So is there somebody that would like to make a motion? Councilor Jones.
I will make a motion on number 1. Have the revenue go into the town's general fund. The funds will be placed here without further direction from the town council.
McBride seconds.
I'm sorry. Moved by Jones, seconded by whom?
McBride?
Either.
Seconded by McBride.
Can I talk to him?
Go right ahead.
Through the mayor to the town manager.
Can we put I'm sorry, the time? Yeah, sorry.
Mr. Byrd, do we have any taxpayers in the town of Groton, commercial or residential, where we assign their particular contribution to the taxes to a specific purpose?
Outside of things like TIF, so just yes-ish, but not, it's very rare, but it is done.
But we don't generally do it.
Not generally, no.
But-
The default is it would just go into the general fund.
Right. I mean, the reason that I'm in favor of number 1 is I don't want to start a precedent where we start to look at revenue from a specific, either, commercial taxpayer or a group of taxpayers or any taxpayers that we're assigning to a certain specific feature. And I'd like it just to go into the general fund to give the town and you as much flexibility as you can, but I don't want to start a precedent where we're starting to assign certain tax revenues to certain projects. I think that's a bad precedent to go down, and so that's why I'm supporting number 1. I know it's not a big change in the bond stuff, but I think it's important to have the town have as much flexibility as it can with its revenue. And I don't want to have different pockets of money going to different pots.
Mr. Burt?
As I've sat on this over the last 2 weeks, I lean against number 2, just because it is net zero. It's a little misleading in my mind, so I do lean towards just general fund. That's my own opinion.
All set, thank you.
Yeah. Counselor McBride?
Yeah, I would agree with Councilor Jones' motion and Councilor Burt's comments that it's misleading. I think it's immaterial. I think it's a bad precedent, as Councilor Jones says. I think we should continue to do what we've done in the past, and I believe this should go to the general fund. And I'm in full support of the bond referendum. I don't think this makes a material difference, and I think it should continue to do what we've done in the past. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Burt, I will ask, I'm sorry, Counselor Bordelon, go ahead.
Thank you. So I appreciate the response and clarification on that. My goal is to seek a way to get funded, since we're only partially funding them in the first round and they're not fully being funded, or we don't even know based on the referendum. And people have been asking, where is this money going to come from? Where are the revenues coming in? And so it was just a clear way to state that here's a new avenue and revenue process that's coming in that could help to offset that's not going to already affect the monies that we've already been receiving. If it's not something that's recommended, that's fine. There's other options too, by looking at ways to make sure we're using it for solar initiatives in our town and other initiatives. But if the general fund is the best avenue, as long as it's going to be moving towards the fields as stated, I think that's great. Thank you.
You, Mr. Burt? Let me ask you, how much would let's just say an average annual payment to a bond cost the town?
Once it fully gets going, the first year is really a smaller payment, but for instance, not taking into any kind of solar payment into account, the second year is about 1.57, 1.58 million for the payment. The high payment's the third year at 1.83 million, and then it starts backing down a bit as it goes forward, eventually the last year being a little over $1 million. And then again, reduce that by 228,000 for the chart anyways.
All right, so that was my thought process, is that to assist with the community, when Mr. Burke brought this idea up, was when you say our payment is this much per year, but we're going to take off 228,000 off of that payment because it's specifically coming from the solar array, that it may make an impact on some voters who say, well, it's less than the full amount, and it's less of a tax burden on the residents. I would also, me personally, would consider, besides TIF, our package here tonight, the cannabis is a tax revenue that comes in, and that is also specifically somewhere we have to apply it specifically, as well as opioid settlement money, as well as our NIP money. Those are all taxpayer dollars that come in and are specifically spent somewhere and are outside of, at this time, outside of our budget process. So I don't think it's that unusual to have something like this. But Mr. Burt, are you saying now because this was your idea originally?
Yes.
So you're now changing your mind on it?
Yes, only because some people are confused. Ultimately, it's not really a savings. Yes, the chart gets reduced, but it just takes away money from another, robbing Peter to pay Paul, basically. So, and I'm not sure $5 per 100,000 is going to have much of an impact on the chances of passage anyhow.
Okay.
But I'm comfortable with the council. That's just my own opinion. Either way is fine.
Okay. I would still be in favor of option 2, because I think anything that would help the bond referendum to help pass it. I mean, either way, if it just goes to our general fund and then pays for the bond anyway, or if we just put it in the writing to say it's going to pay for the bond. I mean, either way, like you're saying, it is net zero. So I think anything that could help would be a good idea.
Point of information.
Your question.
If the consensus is 1, do we even need to pass this, or do we just, because it would just go into the general fund if we don't pass anything?
Well, if option 1 passes, it would go into the general fund. If it fails, then option 2 would probably be put on the floor.
My question is, if we pass option 1, do we need to actually put this into the committee, or to the council? Does it need to be voted on in the council, or does it just go?
Well, because we've been given options, and if number 1 is chosen, that's what we voted on, so.
Okay.
Counselor Pacino?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through the mayor to town manager. Like I'm a fifth grader, explain the net zero, please.
We would have used the 228,000 generally towards our overall budget. If you direct that to this source, you've taken away from the rest of the budget, and we're just gonna make up with that up with taxpayer dollars.
Thank you.
Counselor Jones?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So a question by what you just said, does that mean the taxes would have to go up to cover the 228,000 in taxpayers?
You won't notice the difference either way. It's net zero.
But in effect, it would be doing that.
It's really just a way to put it on the explanatory text. It doesn't have a further impact.
May I just jump in? Because I think some people are having a hard time understanding this. The $228,000 will come in. It will go directly into our general fund.
Correct.
If we put it in the explanatory text, it will specifically go to the bonding if it passes.
Correct.
Otherwise, it will sit in the general fund, and let's just say the bonding passes, just money out of the general fund will pay for the bonding. I mean, either way, it's all still.
It's the same difference.
It's the same thing.
It's a net
It doesn't
zero.
matter. It's just saying, would you like to use the wording in the
Exactly.
referendum
That's all it
to
is.
help it pass? That people will see that there is also money coming off of it because it is saying it's being allocated in that specific way.
I'm good.
Okay. Counselor Parker?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So basically, we're already going to be paying down the bond because we have it in the general fund. So it doesn't make any difference to put the 228 in verbiage into the bond, so we can get the bond. We're still going to be paying out of it, so it doesn't have to go there. It can stay in general fund. Thank you.
Alrighty, I'm not seeing any other hands, so we're going to take a vote on option 1. Is the motion on the floor? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm sorry, we're going to, and opposed?
Aye.
Aye. That passes 6-3-0 with Chino. Good. And Franco opposed. All right, up next is 2025-761, athletic field bond referendum date in question. All right, this is on page 11 of our packet. The whole motion needs to be read, is that correct, Mr. Burt?
Yes.
All right, up next, Counselor Good, would you like to take that?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Move to recommend a resolution to submit the ordinance appropriating $14,380,000 for the design and construction of Groton athletic fields, consisting of athletic field improvements primarily at Fitch High School, and if funds are remaining from said appropriation, allow such funds to be used at Sutton Park, Groton Middle School, and the former Clodchester Elementary School, and authorizing the issue of bonds and notes in the same amount to finance said appropriation. for approval or rejection at the referendum to be held on November 4th, 2025, in conjunction with the election to be held on that date. Voters approving the ordinance will vote yes, and those opposing the ordinance will vote no. And that the question to be placed on voting machines shall be worded as follows. Shall the ordinance appropriating $14,380,000 and authorizing bonds and notes in the same amount for the design and construction of Groton athletic fields, consisting of athletic field improvements primarily at Fitch High School, and if the funds are remaining from said appropriation, allow such funds to be used at Sutton Park, Groton Middle School, and the former Clodchester Elementary School, be approved. Continue. The town clerk is hereby directed to issue any and all warnings, publish all such notices, and file all such statements and reports concerning said referendum as provided by law, and to authorize the town clerk to prepare a concise explanatory text regarding said ordinance, and the town manager is authorized to prepare additional explanatory materials regarding said ordinance. Such text and explanatory material to be subject to the approval of the town attorney and be prepared and distributed in accordance with section 9-369B of the Connecticut General Statutes.
Second, Pacino.
Moved by Good, seconded by Pacino.
Point of information.
Counselor Bordelon, your question?
Yes, so I apologize. I'm college and my perception is cutting in and out. On the last vote, I don't know if I can be added. I was for option 2, and I do apologize. I'm in a Airbnb here and the reception's not great.
So I will change the vote to 5 to 4 to 0. Is that what you're saying?
My vote would have been option 2 on that vote, just to be clear. You guys
But
cut out for a minute.
we were voting on option 1, so you were opposed to option 1. Is that what you're saying?
Correct. Yeah, thank you. And I do apologize.
I'm changing that to 5 to 4 to 0, adding Bordelon opposed.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, we have a motion on the floor for the athletic fields bonding. Mr. Burt, just a question. Attorneys have reviewed all of this, and
Yes.
the bond attorneys and the town attorneys, so it's all been reviewed,
Yes,
is that
yes.
correct? Thank you.
And I've been working in advance on the explanatory text with the clerk and the bond counsel and town attorney.
Thank you. All right, seeing no hands, we're going to take a vote on 2025-761 athletic field bond referendum date and question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Abstentions? That passes 8 to 1 to 0. Parker opposed. All right, up next is 2025-687-1 cannabis tax revenue use. This is on page 12 of our packet. No motion has been set. Mr. Burt, do you want to give us a synopsis on this one?
Sure. This was also discussed at the Committee of the Whole on August 12th and postponed until this meeting. Just a reminder about background on cannabis tax uses. It can be used for streetscape improvements and other neighborhood development in communities where cannabis retailer, hybrid retailers, or micro cultivators are located. Education programs or youth employment and training programs in the municipality. Services for individuals living in the municipality who were released from DOC custody. Mental health or addiction services, youth services bureaus and municipal juvenile review boards, and community civic engagement efforts. The town currently has $195,776.30 from cannabis revenue. The two things that were discussed at that meeting, one was potentially using the tax revenue to offset the annual budget for things like the health and service agencies. It's a reliable form of revenue. And then, or potentially awarding it separate from that outside of the annual budget process. I was asked to determine with the finance director whether it could be used to offset annual budget. Dee did research that and found that yes, it can be used as long as those agencies receiving it fall under those categories. As a reminder, the town manager's office sends a form each year to the agencies asking for their requests for the budget year. We would probably revise that form slightly just to match in this funding. And if an agency didn't match that funding, we would just use taxpayer dollars. It's not like it would be zeroed, just to make that clear from my office anyways.
All right, I'm going to put a motion on the floor. I'm choosing option number 1, but I'm going to put some caveats in there. Utilize received funds to help offset taxpayer cost for funding service agencies as part of the annual budget process, or also give annual one-time increases for special items and issues.
Second?
Point of information.
Your question?
Can you repeat the end of that and also give one-time?
Increases for special item/issues.
Thank you.
Moved by Franco, seconded by Jones. I'm going to speak to this. There are, cannabis money can be used in a variety of ways. I think it would not be a bad idea to figure out who are outside services, what we usually call them in our budget, fall into this category. So those can be, utilize these funds as well. But also what we have done in the past is at times where we have had issues with homelessness, we've awarded a large sum to one agency that helps with that. And I think that could continue in the future as well. And this will also help keep our budget flat, because Mr. Burt has said that there are issues. But I also would like to make sure that we vet our outside services to find out and have it clearly marked in the budget, showing which ones are, fall under this category. And then you would hold the funding for 1 year and put it in next year's budget. And then you can utilize it between those vet, I would call them organizations. And if need be, if there is something pressing or in need, we can give them increases in the budget. But I think it would also help some of the conversations that go on when we take them up individually on this council. There's a lot of discussions on these items. So, but they are vetted within our budget. It would make it probably a lot easier. Okay,
Point of information.
your question.
Can you name the agencies that are,
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
can you name the agencies that you're referring to on our list?
They are in our budget. They're considered mostly outside services. A questionnaire would be sent out by the town to see if they fall under the criteria that, for cannabis funding.
And what is the list of agencies on there?
If Mr. Burt,
I've got it up if you would like.
Mr. Burt will pull it up.
Now, in terms of the outside agencies, it could also be used for libraries and some other things, but the outside agencies, which have evolved some over time, if they've not been the exact same ones, over the last 8 years. New London Hospitality Center, Homeless Hospitality Center, SCAD, Safe Futures, the Arc of Eastern Connecticut, Connecticut Legal Services, UCFS Inc., Behavioral Health Services. Always Home, Sexual Assault Crisis Center of Eastern Connecticut, Meals on Wheels, TVCCA, Children First Groton, Thames River Heritage Park, Southeastern Connecticut Cultural Coalition, Eastern Connecticut Conservation District, Gemma Moran United Way Labor Food Center. That's in the current budget.
And I'm not sure if all of these would fit into cannabis, is that correct?
Yeah, some of them that might not. So when we do the questionnaire, we would ask them about it and how much of their funding could be considered that, et cetera, and make up the difference with taxpayer dollars, and probably have something about special projects or other, potentially, just so they're aware.
Okay.
And just, you know.
Point of information?
Your question? Your question?
Yes, can you just name the parameters that are listed in the agenda of what can you name the parameters of what the recommendations are for these funds?
Are those listed in our packet?
Yes, it's
They're on
the
page 12 in our packet.
second paragraph under background.
Okay, Counselor Rusk.
I'd just like to note that typically when we are talking about any of these social service agencies, I need to recuse myself, but based on my job, but in light of the fact that we are just simply talking about how revenue is being moved around, I'm going to stay for the conversation. I'm going to ask a question, is there any reporting requirements for this that would make it?
Not currently. If any were ever added, we'll just make that part of the form a requirement to provide such and such information.
Okay. In my opinion, this is the best way to move forward with this. It doesn't provide sudden funding for different organizations. If it's needed, we can use it, but otherwise we are funding agencies already that meet this parameter, and it would be great to be able to use this money in that form. Obviously, with the way that this is worded, if we see a special need, it can be used. I just wanted a clarification. You had asked, Madam Mayor, you had asked about, or you had discussed holding it for a year. Are you talking about holding this $195,000, I'm sorry, $195,000, I can read, to the FYE 27 budget or the FYE 28 budget?
This is the funding that goes up to what date, Mr. Burr?
Well, it's a continuous revenue source, so if you did nothing further with it, we would see how much money is available as we go into the budget process.
But if this is up to like the end of your fiscal year, this could go into your next budget, is what I'm saying, right? And then what we collect
This just keeps adding, it's not bound by fiscal years, so.
But if you collect for a year and then put it into your budget, is what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Where would your timeline be?
It would likely cross over. It would be literally whatever money we've collected since the last expenditure to the next time we budget it. So it will cross, the collection of money will cross budget years.
But you will have to print your budget book.
Yeah, whatever amount of money we literally have dedicated at that point, we would put into the budget.
So I think the question is, typically you do your budget in February.
Right.
By whatever is in the budget by the end of February is what you would use for the FYE 27 budget.
That's where we would start, and then it's always possible, as you know, I sometimes point out, you know, something should be dropped or whatever else is a recommendation. It might recommend, you know, we received another 30,000, and based on applications, you could, you know, fund these if you wanted, you know, replace tax dollars with these
Thank you,
funds.
that answered my
Yeah.
question. Thank you.
Thank you. Counselor Jones.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm not sure if this is the mayor's answer to this or the town manager, but are you anticipating to have sort of level funding, to keep level funding of where we have been?
Cannabis is pretty level, you know, it doesn't change a lot.
I'm more talking about the budget, what we've already budgeted,
Oh.
but are you
It
anticipating?
always goes
keeping
up a
that
little
level?
more, and if we, let's say those requests were beyond, we'll just use taxpayer dollars. We offset as much as we can.
would you anticipate, like, here's the budget sheet from the list. Would you anticipate another column in here that has the town contribution out of the general fund and then the
It
money?
would be
from
under the,
canvas?
it would be probably a separate part of the budget, I would imagine, under revenues. It would be noted in the budget, I'm just not sure it'll be noted on that
On
page
that,
or not.
on this
yeah.
particular page. But you're,
Wherever the finance director thinks is the appropriate place.
I mean, it just gives you a bigger picture. If everything's in one place, you can kind of see it. I mean, I'm in favor of this. I think it's great. I don't know if issues is the correct word. It could be need, or it could be.
And it might be a whole separate page I insert under like town manager report on what I'm recommending. You know, the town manager introduction where I put a lot of different information, like the highlights and stuff.
Oh, at the front.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm also in favor of having, we call it a questionnaire or an application or something, where we gather information on what their programs are, and what they're anticipating to do with this money. So I think that's a good idea. It just gives us a better financial picture. If another organization wanted to come into this, how would you handle that, into this list?
Which we've had happen over the years. We've added a couple over the years. They usually reach out to our office, or a counselor will, you know, say, hey, reach out to the town manager's office, you know, and typically add them in. Now, even if let's say I didn't agree and I zeroed it, they're still listed. I've always listed the zeroed ones too. Because, you know, I'm just making a recommendation. Ultimately, the council will pick to do whatever they want to do.
So you sort of anticipated some kind of a vetting process where they'll come
Yeah,
in, the
with
town
our,
manager, you'll look at it.
we'll
and go,
enhance our application process.
Okay.
And then you'll have that information.
okay. And then we can put it all together. Okay, I mean, it's a nice way. The money goes back to the community on places that have needs. So I think and gives enough flexibility to the town manager's office or the town itself to kind of figure out where the best place to go is. So,
And I would potentially anticipate year one, you know, would have, if you spend all the money, would have more money in year one than later years, since you're accumulating more. So we might have some, you know, special projects then, but you don't have to. We can also just say we're going to use this much and save the rest for future years. So.
do you anticipate sometimes just giving them a sum of money just to kind of ease the town budget on this?
That's the purpose, is to
That's the
offset,
purpose.
yeah,
Okay.
the tax dollars.
It can offset and it could also add.
Yeah, you can do both.
You
yeah.
can go, you
Yeah,
can do
yeah,
both things.
yeah,
You can
yeah,
offset some
yeah.
of this money.
If
and you can
somebody
add
with
for
the
another
new,
program.
if somebody said, asked for 5,000 and say, you know, $2,500 we think of this would fall into your parameters, we'll allocate 2,500 of that and the rest would be taxpayer dollars, you know. It's not real complicated. We'll have a form and it's not real difficult to figure out.
Okay, all right. I'm in favor of the motion on the floor. Thank you.
Thank you. Counselor Bordelon.
Thank you. As many know that the outside agencies are near and dear to me, and you know, I'm a little concerned that we're looking at to just offset our obligation to our community with the burdens that they're facing. And so my hope was that this was going to enhance. So whatever we were already doing, we would be like throwing over another layer of enhancement, showing that Groton stands firmly with these agencies in their need for support of our community members in a time of need. I want to thank SCAD for attending tonight. I know they reached out to me, Julie and Annette. I'm unfortunately obviously not there due to obligations with college move-in, but I appreciate that they're on our list. Like, you know, this money, we shouldn't be looking at as a way of like make a tax break, in my opinion. That's my thought. It looks to me as we should be looking at, that's our tax investment, and this is money that's coming in, that's extra, and how should we enhance and make those programs more robust? I did hand the town manager an email. I think it came out to all the counselors with 8 to 10 different agencies that I had reached out to. Originally, when these monies had come available last year under the cannabis and opiate money, I had asked for a platform and application process, but in no way was I looking at to like just only decrease our tax burden. But I think a percent of that should be reallocated to support the most critical need individuals in our community. When I spoke with SCAD in my investigation process of vetting what agencies would be appropriate, SCAD spoke very highly of employing military spouses as well as treating some of our military veterans in our community as well as active duty. And, you know, in reference to Community Speaks Out, which I totally support, they're just one agency in the big scheme of things. They then reach out to Malta and SCAD for beds when they need them, because they do not have those. So I think it's very vital, and also moving forward, I want to commend Milford for building a homeless hospitality center, homeless shelter, as if some may call it, and Groton does not have one. And so we have an obligation to fund those funds in New London, because when our folks can't pay our taxes that we keep increasing, they have to go to New London and they seek shelter. It's great that we have all these agencies that help with food, but eventually the food runs out and the house becomes an issue. We do help with Always Home, and that has a different caveat to it, but when all those things fail, the shelter is the only place that they can go. So I just firmly believe that that's our town right and obligation, and a lot of students in our community who can become homeless through the Groton Public Schools are also affected by this. So I'm not looking at this to offset our taxes. I'm looking at this to enhance what we've already been given. So how does that look in this pendulum? And I want to thank Councilor Jones for asking, because that was one of my questions as well. How do we ask
your
other
time has
agencies
expired.
to be on this? Thank you. So that's my question to the town manager.
Well, it also states in the motion itself, there's the ability to give annual one-time increases for special items and issues. So even though there is something in their budget that is typically what they ask for, there could be special requests at certain times if there are needs. Counselor Good.
Yes, I just wanted to state that I support this motion fully. I think it's a great idea, not only to continue funding these outside agencies as we have, with as little impact on the taxpayer as possible, but also give these guys the ability to in certain cases to get a surge of funds when the need arises. I think it's a great idea, and I think it works pretty well for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Counselor Parker.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Through the mayor to Mr. Burt, my question is, you're building up the funds to have for next year's budget. What was this past year's budget total compared to what we're getting of the $195,000 plus?
Do you mean under those service agencies?
Correct, sir.
Oh, hold on a sec. Sorry, I put it down.
I have,
And if I remember,
it's
151.
$151,000.
Yeah. And again, there are some agencies beyond that, like libraries, that they also fit into those categories.
So my thought process is, we use all that money, and then have some left over for in case there's a special item or emergencies in their cases. We'll only have like 40,000. How much do we get? Is it quarterly or is it a yearly payment?
I believe it's quarterly, though we get a form for what we're getting every month, but I think they actually said it quarterly, if I remember correctly, but it's at least quarterly.
And could you please tell me how much thereabouts we're getting quarterly, if you break it down, if you have that information?
It was 17,000 the last two quarters.
Yeah, 15, 17.
17,000.
It changes
July through
slightly by
April.
1,000 or 2 each month.
17,000 of May through June. So you're going to have,
Well,
That's for
Wait,
a
wait,
monthly.
wait.
Right.
Please stop for a
Okay.
second. I'm going to say this, and I'm not trying to be mean, but we're jumping in, and I'm going to point of order Council McBride, because he does not have the floor right now.
I concur. Thank you for your assistance, Mr. McBride, but you do not have the floor. Thank you.
So my question would be, if the funds aren't available, we're going to turn around and put it back on the taxpayers when we don't have it, correct?
If the retail shop closed, then the funding would be cut off. And we would just simply, yes, put it back in.
And my point would be, then there would be a spike in us with our taxes. So we're not really doing any good on that part, because we'll lower certain dollar amounts, But then the following year, if we don't get the increase or have that money in place, we're going to hit them again with another tax increase. So my thought was not to use the money as part of that. I thought it was going to be a supplement to it, because this is already a tax coming in. This is a tax from the state of Connecticut given to the people. And we're going to use that to offset our taxes further. So I just want to understand the process. Thank you.
All right, Matt, is Counselor Bordelon's hand up? I can't see the screen.
Yeah, that's up.
Thank you, Mr. Burrow. Counselor Bordelon.
Thank you. Again, I think we have a huge option here to make a statement in our community about where we want to put these funds. Let's remember what the cannabis money means and why we're getting it and how it's being allocated, and to just broadly just blanket it as a tax kind of, I don't know, to offset. I think that's wonderful. But when you look at all of our outside agency, what percent of that is out of our total town tax budget? It's minuscule in relation to everything else. It's not even, I don't even think it's 5%. I mean, so again, let's enhance those outside agencies. Let's make sure we are protecting our community and our surrounding areas with the money. That's what I believe in. That's what I stand for. That's why I got involved, is making sure people in our community have a fair shot at a second option, or an option to make sure that their lives are protected and that they have a right to make sure that their situations are secure. Groton is a wonderful place to live. Again, as I stated before on the record, we suffer in this sense. We don't have a lot of outside agencies here. If you become homeless, we have no homeless shelter. Go to New London. If you need this, go to SCAD. We do not have a detox. We do not have the robust services needed. Our community has to go elsewhere. So I just think it's very appropriate to fund those agencies. And what are we going to determine as emergency? Should SCAD say, we're opening up a new detox facility? Would that constitute an emergency, or that they have an increase of Groton residents? Like, that's leaving a lot up to interpretation versus awarding it, and we have the ability to break it down over certain agencies. In my research, there was other homes here in Groton that could utilize these funds. In fact, they said that Community Speaks Out reaches out to them to bed clients. And I just think that we have a great opportunity here, and I think we have an obligation to spend this money in a manner that is robust, not just looking for the tax level. And so I just encourage this council to consider that. And when you look at the whole number here, it's the percent is so low of what we're actually giving in our total budget annually. Thank you.
Councilor Rusk.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to touch on what was spoken about versus with enhancing versus a tax break. We do find a lot of regional agencies, and a lot of our social service agencies are regional. We're not going to have one agency in each community. We have regional agencies that help a lot of different people. And when we fund them through our taxes in our budget, that is how we help those agencies. I think this is a great way to enhance that funding. Every year we look at the budget, and it seems to be the one area that we all want to start talking about. How can we cut this? How can we make this work? How can we increase this? How can we decrease this? We spend the most amount of time on outside agencies. I think this is a great way to enhance it. With 40% or nearly 40% of Groton's population in the Alice population, we need to start looking at ways that we can help people in every way, and that includes not increasing taxes any more than we have to. So I think if we put this on the budget, or we hold this for increases for special items or special issues come up, it's a great way to use this money, but it also may mean that we can give a little bit more money with taxpayer dollars to agencies. And I 100% encourage agencies that if they feel like this is something that they should apply for, to contact the mayor, or, I'm sorry, to contact the town manager and say, I would like to be considered for funding in the town of Groton budget. So I do feel like this is an enhancement to our budget and to all of the agencies that do apply for this money.
Point of information?
Your question?
Through the mayor to the town manager, so the agency list that I sent you and all the people that have responded to you with letters of requesting funding, would that help get them on the list, or do they need to send another letter stating they'd like to be on that outside agency list? Just, that's my clarification question.
If it's the council's desire to add them in, if you let me know, we'll send the forms to them too. So.
Counselor Parker?
So, I guess
Counselor
point of
Parker has the
information
floor
still.
now. Counselor Borderline?
My question, okay, all
Counselor
right, I'll
Parker
come
has
back.
the floor.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So we just passed something that is a tax coming in for an item we just discussed. This is the same thing, so we're going to take this money. I just want clarification about this. We're going to take the money and apply it to the other things instead of putting it in the general fund. Is that what we're doing? Because typically, we can't allow it to go into the general fund, which we did on the last item, instead of putting it towards a different item.
The money would have to be spent on things that fit the criteria. So let's just say there's $100,000. The items listed in our budget have to at least be at the minimum at $100,000, at the minimum. If that's what you're going to use in your budget, you can't just put it into the general fund. It has to be used specifically. So the items on this portion of our budget, after the questionnaires go out, would have to have some kind of asterisk showing that those are the ones that would be used for cannabis.
Madam Mayor, through you to the town manager, page 13 has an option 3. Is that wrong to think that? Is that?
Correct. Really, there's no restriction. Whatever the council desires.
The restrictions on cannabis money, though, distribution.
No, I think she was asking, there's 3 alternatives listed. I think she was, correct me if I'm wrong, you were just asking if there are any alternatives.
Correct.
Yeah. But there are restrictions. That money has to be tracked separately, cannot be commingled with the general fund.
Again, so
So
budget
number
process.
number three is wrong. I just saw that. Number 3 is wrong, and there cannot be commingled in the general fund.
All right, so option 3 is off the table.
Yes.
But again, we're using the money to offset the outside, potentially offsetting the outside agencies, which is technically coming out of the general fund to pay for those outside agencies. Am I right in thinking that?
Not necessarily. We have different grants that we also take. It's not necessarily run really through the general. This is just like a grant. It'll be handled however D handles grants. There's really no difference. This is not a special thing, other than having certain restrictions, just like any grant would. We build in, certain grants for emergency management, for the police departments and different things like that, that have certain restrictions.
Okay. So you're going to, you know what, I'm done. Thank you.
Councilor McBride.
Thank you. I want to say I'm in full support of this motion, and just for clarification, the numbers from the prior meeting's information, it was $161,000 for fiscal through 25, $17,000 per month for May and June. So as a result, just for clarification, it's about $200,000 a year that comes into this tax revenue allocation, and the $151,000 that's currently in the budget. So I think this does provide some solid revenue to help those outside agencies, in particular special uses. So thank you. I'm in full support.
Point of information?
Mr. Burt has something. Mr. Burt?
I was just going to add on a comment to Counselor Rusk that some good points, that what this also does is basically shores up these from being cut. You know, makes it more unlikely to be cut by using these funds.
Counselor Bordelon, your question?
So I just want to be clear, like Malta, Community of Hope, and all the other agencies that submitted, they would just have to now submit another letter stating that they'd like to be added to our list. Is that correct?
If the council is agreeable, I can just add them to our list and have my assistant reach out to them at the same time as others.
Point of information?
Your question?
The statement was stated earlier through the mayor, through the town manager. My question is, it was stated that you said if they reach out, they're usually just added even though they don't get funding. So I just want to be clear when I respond to the folks that have responded to me that I should tell them, my question is that they should submit their recommendation to be added to the list.
I'm saying that's not even needed as long as the council is okay with it. I'll just add them into our list and we'll reach out to them. Doesn't mean they'll, you know, and then we'll see where they fall in their services. But regardless,
Okay.
even if I assigned a tentative 0, it'd be in there and you could change that to whatever they want or in between.
Okay, perfect, thank you. So I'd like to make a motion.
Counselor Merritt?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion.
There's a motion on the
Counselor Merritt is
floor.
speaking. He has not spoken yet.
There's a motion on the floor, I believe,
There's already a motion on the floor. You're
and I
correct.
am in favor of it. And I think a lot of this discussion is more or less self-explanatory in the paperwork we have in front of us. The agencies are there, or they can reach out and become part of the list. They submit a form that's drawn up by the town for their request, and then it's decided upon here, and I don't see why there's so much discussion personally. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to put a motion on the floor.
There's already a motion on the floor.
I'd like to make an amended motion.
What is your amended motion?
I'd like to just ask that we, all of the agencies that submitted letters be added to the list.
That's not close to what the motion on the floor is now.
Well, the town manager was alluding to that if the council agrees.
But that would have
so
to
how
be
would you
something
like that?
different. That is something different.
Okay, so I will reach out to them and have them submit letters then. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to take a vote on the motion on the floor to utilize received fundings, cannabis received fundings to help offset taxpayer costs for funding service agencies as part of the annual budget process, or give annual one-time increases for special item and / issues. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Abstentions? That passes 8 to 0 with Bordelon opposed. Hold on just a moment. I'd actually like to take a 10-minute recess right now. It's 7:39. We'll be back in about 10 minutes. Thank you. Okay, it is 7:51 and we're back from recess. Counselor Rusk.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have a lot of feedback. Based on the number of agencies that have been linked to the discussion of opioid settlement revenues, I'm going to recuse myself based on my job. I don't want to be biased, so I'm going to step aside. Thank you.
Okay, we are bringing up this topic again. It is 2025-689-1 opioid settlement revenue use. There is currently a motion on the floor to allocate 20% of the national opioid settlement funds to GASP and 80% to Community Speaks Out, and to set this allocation for the next 3 years. It was postponed to this date. There was, I don't know how to surmise it, other than there was a lot of discussion, and I don't know if the town manager truly got a consensus from the council on direction. So this is back to the council. Mr. Burt, is there anything that you would like to add?
No, the motion on the floor has to be discussed and disposed of before any further discussions can go on beyond that. But as a reminder, the town currently has $66,927.24 available from opioid revenue. At least 70% of those funds are to be used to fund opioid remediation efforts. If they're used for other things, there's some public reporting required. Settlement funds should be used to expand the addiction treatment workforce, increase adoption of clinical best practices, and improve enforcement of mental health parity and consumer protection laws at the state level. I have nothing else to add.
Councilor Good.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have an amendment to the motion on the floor to change it to 100% of the funds to Community Speaks Out, and that would be it, and 0 to any other program. Thank you.
Second, Pacino.
All right, amended motion to give 100% to Community Speaks Out. Moved by Good. Second by Pacino. Counselor Good, did you want to speak to your motion?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Just quickly, these funds are coming for something terrible that has been happening for the last 20-some-odd years, and it will never be enough for the damage that's caused. And I feel that Community Speaks Out also comes from, a terrible origin, and the organization has taken this horrible thing and done the most positive imaginable remedy for what's going on in Groton and what has been going on in Groton. I feel like we've funded them for the last 3 years, and we've seen them grow. We've seen many people be welcomed back into the normal community, I guess you would call it, where guilt and burden isn't what's driving them, but hope and a little bit of freedom from what these people have gone through. So I feel like Community Speaks Out is tailor-made for the spirit of what the settlement is, and that's why I ask the council members to consider continue fully funding. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor McBride?
Thank you. I appreciate all the work Community Speaks Out. I just have some questions, because my concern isn't about the organizations. My concern is the wording of the appropriation of the motion. I see here, maybe this is a question through the mayor, through town manager Burt. I see that we're talking a lot about the $66,927 number, which from back up from the prior meeting we had is from 25 and 26. But then the motion reads for the next 3 years. So are we talking about the 66,000 plus the expected in 27 plus the expected in 28?
Yes.
Okay. With that being said, I do not support that. I think it's a terrible precedent to set to appropriate money that we haven't received yet, that may be estimated at $30,000 a year, but I think it binds future councils, it's improper, and I cannot support anything to allocate money from 27 budget and 28 budget currently. Thank you.
I would like to just clarify something, that by putting it in for the next 3 years, every council for the next 3 years would have to still vote on it and send it to the RTM, as we have in the last 3 years as well. Is that correct, Mr. Burt?
Is this still my turn?
Oh, sorry, I got to put your time back. Hold up.
I thought you were completed.
Well, you had a response to my comment.
I'm asking
so-
Mr. Burt.
I don't believe so. I think it'd be incumbent on any future council to try to change it. I think as it stands, if the council and RTM approves that, that's where it stands for now.
But the future councils could change it, is that correct?
Yes.
They're not, it's not in stone,
Nothing's in stone now.
as we've been told. Thank you.
Madam, point of information?
Councilor McBride, did you want to continue with your time? I mean,
No, I'm fine. I said what I think I needed to say at this point. Thank you.
Hold up.
Councilor Parker.
I am in agreement with Councilor McBride. I do not feel that 3 years. And just to remind everyone, per our rules, we can change it after a year. Any council can change it. It's in our rules, or they need 2/3 vote. I'm not going to support the 100%. I want to still be able to give other organizations a chance. Community Speaks Out will get a portion and then allocate, the original motion on the floor was to allocate 20%. I'm actually thinking of something else, but I will wait to see how this motion goes. But I'd rather have it be yearly, and that others have an opportunity to be able to get a chance at the money with an application process that fits in with what the goal is. Thank you.
Councilor Jones.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just a question first. Are we only allowed to have one amendment on the floor at a time?
No, another amendment could be put on.
So I'm okay with Councilor Good's 100% to Community Speaks Out, but I'd be much more comfortable with a 1 year as opposed to 3 years. They have done an amazing,
Are you putting a motion on the floor?
I'm putting a motion on the floor to change 3 years to 1 year.
100% to Community Speaks Out.
Yep, for 1 year.
Community Speaks Out.
I'll second that.
All right, made by Jones, seconded by Good. Okay,
Just
continue.
a point of clarification, that's actually 2 years. It's for 25 and 26.
Town Manager Brett, can you weigh in on that?
So if you allocated, generally speaking, we've been doing this by the calendar year. So if you allocated by the year, whatever funds we receive by December 31st is what we would typically interpret that as.
Okay. Thank you. So Community Speaks Out does a tremendous service. I'll echo Councilor Good's to the town of Groton. We're a better community because of them and what they do and the services that they offer. I've come to learn a little bit more about them that I didn't realize, that they sort of act almost as our opioid health department, that they are the cover agency. They do work themselves and they have their own center to do things, but they also support people going to other places that they can't do, or other places don't have the funds to support. So they just sort of dispense money as well as act as a center for their own recovery efforts. So I applaud them for doing it. They look like they're very, very good stewards of our money. I'm just a little bit want more accountability. I did read through the letter that Community Speaks Out sent, and I wish it more pointed out some of the agencies that they supported, just so we have a little bit more transparency on where all the money goes in the funds. But I don't have any doubt that they are one of our best organizations in town for helping people that desperately need recovery. So, but I just would like to see again, they also would fall into the application or questionnaire, or whatever we're going to call it, process, so that, and I also believe I understand that we have more reporting requirements. Is that correct, Mr. Burtnow? With the opioid
Yes,
monies?
and when they've been awarded before, we gathered the information from them and made our reports.
So, so that's great, and that questionnaire will help in that process. So anyways, that's my reasoning for the 1 year.
Counselor Bordelon?
Thank you. I just want to appreciate Councilor Parker's remarks as well as Councilor McBride's remarks. Again, last year I had asked, when this came up, and we gave Community Speaks Out all 3 years of funding, which I was in full support of the time, in the sense that, it was said, oh, we got to come up with a process. And they said, next year, next time that we're up for this, we will please submit. Well, the agenda came out on Thursday, and then we, most people can't, you work during the week, can't see it till Friday sometimes, depending on when it comes out. And then our meeting's on Tuesday. That's not enough time for a counselor to enact, change, and get a hold of agencies. So there wasn't a platform that was stated in the previous years that was going to be available to us. And so then we get this agenda that says Community Speaks Out and gas. And so I asked, where's everybody else and where's the process for us to submit? And it was stated that counselors need to do their homework and make sure that they're properly submitting things, but we do not control the agenda. So I did submit over 8 to 10 names to the town manager. Some of those names being Community of Hope, who was located here in Groton, who has been here since 2011, long before Community Speaks Out was even in fruition. And Community Speaks Out utilizes them as one of their bases to home people. They don't always give them funding. They have, but not always when they try to house people. Community of Hope did not reject people based on Community Speaks Out's funding or non-funding. They do what they do based on the funding that they have. And to only agency in Groton, as I support Community Speaks Out, I believe that they are a branch of the problem, but it's systemic. And it means we need multiple agencies to combat this crisis that we are in. And so funding all of our money into one agency cripples all of them, because Community Speaks Out actually needs Community of Hope to support their efforts, because they're the ones that are helping house or pay for, these needs of people. So I ask that we look at this in a more systemic manner. There's also Malta. There's also Legacy for Home for Women. Did you know that there's an all-women's shelter? Because, some women do not need to be in shelters with all men. And there's also an agency called Today's Youth that's working in Brantford and in London to help youth that are targeted in these type of epidemics, making sure that they don't, recreate the problem that they come from. There's SCAD, the list goes on, Alliance for Living, Learn is also, using some of the funds that they got from New London to support a new therapist in their crisis intervention programs, making sure that their students are being met in need to prevent them from becoming part of these programs like SCAD and Community Speaks Out. We have a need here in Groton. As I stated before, we do not have our own base systems. We rely on outside agencies across our region. We are regional. Unless we want to narrow down and start funding our own stuff, we rely on SCAD. Community Speaks Out does not have detox beds. So if someone is having a crisis tonight, today, tomorrow,
Your time has expired.
I'll raise my hand for my second. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Bordelon, would you like to take
Thank
your
you.
second turn?
Yes, thank you. If a person becomes in need today and needs a bed, if one of your family members or community members, they might reach out to Community Speaks Out. They might not even know that it exists because it's a newer agency. They need a bed. These agencies that have already been there provide the bed. Community Speaks Out is a phenomenal agency, but they're not the end-all, be-all to our epidemic that we're having here in our community. I implore this council to make sure that we are funding everyone equitably. We gave Community Speaks Out 3 years of funding, which is generous. I can't speak enough, but it's so vital that these other agencies are on that tapestry of recovery. And I sent a very detailed list. Community, like I stated, Community Hope, Malta, SCAD, and many other agencies that are here, and youth programs that are doing outreach programs, helping these kids apply for college and to do things where breaking that, recidivism rates and things of people who come from homes that are trying to overcome them. I feel yes, fine, give Community Speaks Out 25, 50%, let's throw a number on the floor. But to give it all is crippling the system because Community Speaks Out can't do their work if those other agencies are not there. They are not ready to house or home or detox those clients, so where are they gonna go? So when I look at the council here, we need to fund the full system, the full system. And where has the money gone with Community Speaks Out? Where have the funding primarily gone? What agencies did they give their money to? I would ask. How much did they give anything to Community of Hope? Did they give anything to SCAD? I would love to know what agencies are they putting those monies in. We haven't asked. We haven't had a reporting process here. So again, I cannot support 100% and definitely not 3 years of total money. I believe our opioid and cannabis and all of our epidemics here in the town of Groton that we got this funding on the backs of recovery is systemic. And we need to make sure, if you know people who have been in recovery, usually the first program doesn't work, they burn a bridge or two, and they find another program. So if a person burns a bridge with Community Speaks Out and says, I don't want to go there, or they have a conflict of interest, where else are they going to go? Where else are we funding? And what is the percent? Just because Community Speaks Out is located in Groton doesn't mean 100% of their clients are Groton residents. They're New London, they're Norwich, they're all over. So we can't use that as an algorithm. We need to broaden our horizons and make sure that we are investing the money in the community, and that is in our county regional support services that service people in crisis. So can I make another motion at this time, or are we already full?
No, we're full.
Okay, so I'll wait, but again, I implore this council, no way can I support 100%, no way can I support all 3 years. We have a problem here. There's other agencies that I've listed here that came to all the council, and some of them are in attendance tonight. I thank them for coming, that were like shocked because there's something called Recovery Groton, where Community Speaks has been having meetings in our town buildings with other agencies, talking about
Thank you.
ways
Your
to
time
make
has
sure that we're all
expired,
supporting each
Councilor
other.
Bordelon. Your time
That
has
is a real
expired.
thing
Thank
called
you.
Recovery Groton. Thank you.
Mr. Burt, there was a letter sent, I believe back in February. I believe Community Speaks Out came and gave an update to the council. Would it be possible to open that and to list where, they had listed where the money was spent, I recall that. The money that was allocated to them for 2024. Can you give a breakdown?
And it's sort of not listed out that, it's super clearly, it's kind of built in. But I think what you may be referring to, for instance, is in 2024, CSO provided sober living assistance, basic needs and other support services at a cost of nearly $75,000. In comparison, the total support provided for recovery services in 23 was approximately $60,000. Let's see if they have anything else.
Is there a breakdown further on in the last page? Or maybe the third page?
It's more broken out. Well, it's at the last page.
I've seen no breakout.
Councilor Bordelon, you do not have the floor.
It's more listing types of services they funded. I'm not seeing a list of which agencies were funded, unless I'm missing it.
But they provided sober living assistance, basic needs, and other support services at a cost of $75,000 for 2024. And recovery services in 2023 was approximately $60,000. And they did say that they had a sharp increase from 23 to 24.
And if you go to the third page, there's some statistical information like total intakes 240, total expenses 111,574, Some of the recovery barriers, they've helped fund like stable and safe housing, basic needs, transportation, recovery support services, provided a list of different things like sober living assistance, recovery events, outreach activities, treatment assistance, basic needs, recovery coaches / mentors, transportation, emergency support, interventions, community forums, and then under recovery costs, sober living support, sober living assistance, 118 people, cost $36,470, recovery events, 13 events, attendance over 1,000, cost 22,000 and change.
Thank you.
Yeah,
So there
the
was,
type of thing.
there has been some kind of, where the money has gone, an explanation when they came in February and sent a letter. Thank you.
Point of information?
Counselor Pacino? Counselor Pacino has the floor.
On the last item that was cannabis, we had a suggestion of adding a few other agencies to that. Can these agencies that Councilor Borderline has mentioned be added to the outside agencies and the health and service agencies on the budget?
Yeah, I've actually already sent an email to my assistant, asking her to add those to the list.
Okay, so we don't need to worry about funding those other agencies that Council Borderline just mentioned today on this opioid settlement, because we could put them on the other one.
Well, you know, they're eligible, these funds are different, eligible for different things, so, you know, yes or no. It's not, I don't know if it's quite that clear.
Okay. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. All right,
Point of information?
your question.
Where's the platform for us to recommend other agencies to be considered for these funds?
It is, I think you would have to bring forward that to the council as, if you would like to come up with a different process.
Through point of information,
Your question?
we were never given that option.
You always have an option to make referrals and to bring forward different processes.
That never happened.
It didn't happen.
There was no email sent asking us to submit anything.
I think during previous meetings, it was that these things could come forward, and it is up to counselors to try and bring these things forward. There are other counselors here that work on projects, and they bring things forward.
I don't think that's fair to say. I don't think every counselor agrees with that per se. Have you asked everybody?
I'm not going to get into a debate with this. The actual topic on the floor is the opioid settlement revenue use.
I just think this is a really bad look. That's all. Thank you.
Mr. Burt?
I was just going to mention, I did send out a draft form to be used if you want to at some point in the future to solicit requests. So I've designed that, it just needs tweaking at some point. It'd be pretty easy to design a process around that.
Okay.
Point of information?
Your question?
When was that draft sent out through the mayor, through the town manager?
Just give me a moment.
August 21st.
Thank you. So that was after.
Council
our
Borderline,
meeting
you don't have
where
the
this was
floor now.
discussed.
You do now have the floor. You don't have the
Just
floor.
want to be
Council
clear.
Borderline,
that
you
it
don't
came out
have the
prior to.
floor. You do not have the floor, and you have
Is
no
that
more time.
correct?
You have no more time left to speak.
Point of information?
Your question.
So that form came out after our meeting, is that correct? Through the mayor, through the town manager, my question?
Came out on August 21st.
Which was after our meeting, is that correct?
August 21st.
Right, our meeting was August 12th. So that process was never given to us. Thank you.
Counselor McBride?
Thank you. All good discussion. I think I understand where we stand on this, and it looks like this is probably going to move forward with the 25 and 26 funding. But I'd like to just state on the record that I understand where Council Bordelon's coming from. And I think what needs to happen, either I can do it or another council, would be to make a referral to establish a process for allocating opioid funds for 27, 28, and beyond, either as part of the budget process or separate. So I think that sounds like something I'll look into in the future to try to move us beyond some of our disagreements. So thank you.
All right, I'm not seeing any other hands, so I'm going to speak last on this. I will be in favor of this. I think Community Speaks Out has done wonderful things for Groton. I'm not saying other agencies do not do wonderful things for Groton, but I think they are what specializes on the eradication of opioids in Groton specifically, more so for our community members. There are some of the agencies that are listed in our outside agencies who are also funded by our budget. And there are other ones that specialize in homelessness and other services that could potentially be in our budget, and that could also be used for cannabis money, and probably fall into those lines. And I think there might be room for many agencies, but I've also heard where it could potentially be, if we have multiple agencies and we have $66,000 and we divide it up between all of these agencies and every agency gets $2,500, that would be useful. I don't think that trying to eradicate opioid addiction, that $2,500 goes very far. I think focusing on
Point of order.
maybe on one group that.
Point of order.
Your point of order.
I feel that that's an opinion because some may feel that $2,500 is more than.
Council
not getting
Bordelon,
anything.
that is not a point of order, and it is my opinion.
It's-
It is absolutely my opinion, but that is not a point of order. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I do not think that $2,500 goes very far when you're trying to eradicate opioids. This is not something, I just feel like if we could put more towards one agency that is very embedded in Groton, that it will help our community. And I know that Community Speaks Out from all the events we go to and what we have heard. They work with other agencies. They work with sober housing, and they help people with sober housing, and there's so much that they do. There was also a letter that was sent to us today as counselors that helps clarify some of those items. So I would be in favor of the motion on the floor. Not saying I wouldn't be in favor of giving funding to some of the other agencies, and I think there is a path, but that might be through the cannabis funding through our budget. So, so as I have not seen any other hands, we're going to take a vote
Point of information.
on your question.
So no other motion can be put down to allocate funding
That has
in a
been
different
asked.
percent.
You have asked, and I have answered that. There is a main motion and two amended motions on the floor right now.
So no one's willing to drop their amended motion to try to give other agencies funding?
Point of order.
Okay, thank you.
Your point of order?
We are in a vote.
Thank you. We're going to first vote on the amended motion, which is 100% to Community Speaks Out for 1 year. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Abstentions?
Aye.
So I have Bordelon opposed, and Parker abstaining. That passes 6 to 1 with one recusal.
Motion to adjourn?
I am not finished with the vote. hold on just a moment. That passes 6-1 with Bordelon opposed, 1 Parker abstention, and 1 recusal of Rusk.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion to adjourn by Bordelon, seconded by Parker. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Counselor Bordelon, I didn't hear your vote.
Oh, we got to vote. Wait,
like to adjourn.
wait,
Opposed?
I withdraw.
We're not
Oh,
done.
wait,
I have
I'm
to
sorry,
withdraw. I
sorry.
have to withdraw my second, because we have to vote on that as a main motion.
Oh,
Okay.
that's right.
I apologize, you are correct. Thank you very much. So we're going to, the amended motion passed, and we're going to vote on it as the main motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Abstentions?
Aye.
So that passes 6-1 to 1 to 1. We have Bordelon opposed, Parker abstaining, and Rusk was accused. That motion
Motion
passes.
to adjourn.
Now there is a motion to adjourn by Bordelon,
Second.
seconded by Parker. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? That passes 9-0 to 0. We are adjourned at 8:23 PM.